Jeez, man. Okay. So I did an Instagram post, or Instagram story, the token Instagram story. I'm about to start watching Stranger Things season 5, and I said I needed a ring pillow, and yeah, that statement still holds true. My butt is so sore right now. I have watched the first 4 episodes, or let's just call it volume 1. So the way I'm going to structure this video, probably a little bit different, probably a little bit all over the place, a little bit wacky, a little bit silly, but that's fine. So I'm treating episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4, volume 1, as one entire piece, I guess you could say. Also keep in mind, because this is a recap and review, much like what I'm doing with Welcome to Derry at the moment, there are going to be some spoilers. I do need to touch on spoilers to really get my message across. And it's definitely one of those things where this is the epitome of big shoes to fill after the events of season 4 of Stranger Things. And the finale of season 4 of Stranger Things, which in my opinion is one of the best Netflix events ever. I think it was so well handled, and it came off as like this grandiose event. It was almost like a feature film. It was just like an event movie for me, even though it's a series. So again, you guys have been warned. There are going to be spoilers in the recap section, and then I'll do my review, but I am treating these 4 episodes as one entire thing. And it feels like such a long time since season 4, man. I remember when Chloe and I were over in the apartment across the way when things were wrapping up with season 4, and now we're moved into this apartment, and it seems like another lifetime ago. I even remember that post when the Duffer Brothers were starting to write season 5, and they had a whiteboard out and they were writing stuff down. And again, it just seems so long ago, but we're here now. So the way I'm going to do the recap is I am going to go through all 4 episodes, each episode, treat them as an individual, and then review it as a whole. So yeah, man, episode 1, The Crawl. I like that there's no fuck around factor. And I use that term a lot, fuck around factor. I like that we get straight into things. I like the fact that Hawkins is now a quarantine zone after the events of season 4. Everyone knows what the hell is going on. The military is like, Jesus Christ, okay, we've got to treat this a bit seriously. And also our main crew is now living and residing with the Wheelers while they're trying to find residency within Hawkins after all their shit was destroyed. So again, it's keeping with that continuity. I think what I love is, and I'll touch on this again in my review, is the through line with all of these seasons is it treats the kids more and more and more like young adults. And then in this season, things seem darker, grimmer, but also grandiose at the same time. And these kids are no longer kids, they're young adults, and they treat them as such, which I like and respect. But in episode 1, The Crawl, we see that Dustin isn't himself, and that's what I've always loved about the character of Dustin. He reminds me of me when I was a kid, and, somewhat now, the jokester, but also, has a, wears his heart on his sleeve. And in this instance, like in episode 1, man, he's grieving for Eddie. He is not himself, and I like that he's gone to a different place. Even though things in this series are not of this world, things seem of this world when it comes to the human character. That's what I've always loved about the writing. You feel for him. You feel so bad for the dude. Like Eddie Munson, he looked up to in season 4. And there definitely is a void with his character. So episode 1 is called The Crawl for a reason. So our main ragtag crew have devised a plan to go into the upside and try and find Vecna once again. But whilst they're trying to do that, there are other things, beings, demogorgons, stuff like that are hot on their tails. Now, of course, we have our usual cast of characters, but also we have Linda Hamilton as Dr. K. She's that, I wouldn't say stereotypical, but stereotypical at the same time character where she knows a bit more than everyone else. She knows what's going on, and she is keeping something under lock and key. Now, episode 2, entitled The Vanishing of Holly Wheeler. This is where we bring Holly Wheeler into the spotlight, and I feel like she's going to have a lot of screen time throughout this season. So essentially, Holly goes missing 3 days before the anniversary of when Will went missing, back in the events of season 1. Meanwhile, we've got Eleven and Hopper in the Upside Down trying to find where Holly is, but then at the same time, we've got got the Wheeler parents in hospital after being brutalized by a Demogorgon. So again, this is going to be a very clusterfuck of a recap. But again, I'm trying to treat this all as one big movie, I guess you could say. Now, once again, Will starts having seizures, flashbacks, hallucinations, visions. And Robin has the genius idea of utilizing him as an antenna to try and track and find Vecna. Now, while all this is going on, we've also seen glimpses of Holly talking to a mysterious person who eventually turns out to be an imaginary friend. Now, this person eventually turns out to be Henry, aka Vecna, aka number one, numero uno. And again, it seems like Holly is going to be the main focus of this season, and I'm quite invested. I think she's a brilliant little actress, and I'm keen to see where this is definitely going to go. Episode 3, entitled The Turnbow Trap. I think this was my favorite, and possibly a bit of bias, because this was directed by Frank Darabont. That is right, Frank Darabont, The Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption, but also the co-writer of A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. It's funny, this episode gave me the most Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy Krueger feels. Maybe because Frank Darabont was involved, I don't know. Maybe it's just that little thing in my head. I'm trying to marry up everything to A Nightmare on Elm Street. But essentially we realize that Will can see through the eyes of Demogorgons, Vecna, aka Henry, but also Vecna's next target. Derek Turnbow, a little shit, a live action Eric Cartman. And I think out of the 4 episodes, this is my favorite because, and again, my through line with this series has always been the kids coming together, even though they're young adults now, and utilizing their skills, utilizing their surroundings, and MacGyvering the shit out of everything. They essentially set a trap for Vecna the Demogorgons with the Turnbow family. And you see the kids setting up traps in the Turnbow house. They've drugged them, and they've got them set aside in a barn. And whilst they were setting up traps, I'm like, this is essentially like Nancy setting up traps in Elm Street 1, and I'm here for it. And the fact that Frank Darabont is directing this, hell yeah. Now, I'm just going to put this here once again, spoiler warning. Where Holly is trapped in Henry Vecna's purgatory, whatever you want to call it, we also see that Max is joined with Holly in that purgatory, in that hold. I'm going to call it Vecna's hold. But also before that, back in the real world, we're seeing Max is in an induced coma with Lucas by her side, constantly playing up that hill, just trying to re-jog her, restart her memory, and get her back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. I know I cracked that joke in the Spawn work print video. Don't hold it against me. Episode 4, entitled Sorcerer. So essentially the military are also collecting kids, but at the same time, more kids are going missing at the hands of Vecna. So it's that kind of crossroads of all these kids are disappearing for the wrong reasons. And our main ragtag crew, and very reminiscent of The Great Escape, and they reference it with a dick joke inserted in there as well. God, no pun intended. That was a double entendre. To try and burrow into the barracks, get these kids out, get them back to safety. And then at the very end, all hell breaks fucking loose. I'm not going to go into those specifics and details. Again, I gave you a spoiler warning, but I'm not going to go into the specifics of spoilers there because some of you may have not even got to episode 4 yet. There are going to be some of you that are watching this video and have watched all 4, but some of you just want a brief little recap, but I highly advise going and watching episode 4 right to the very end because it leaves on an absolute banger, as it should, because December 26th, that's when we get volume 2, and then I think it's New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, we get the final conclusion. Everything wraps up in a feature-length episode. So my overall thoughts on the first 4 episodes, it's a solid start, man, but at the same time, there is so much going on. I can only imagine the Duffer Brothers putting all this in front of them on a whiteboard and thinking, how the fuck do we handle this? So you are jumping from so many characters grouped up doing all these things, like you're going from like military, man, America, fuck yeah, but then you have Eleven and Hopper in the Upside Down. So yeah, man, there is a lot going on, but I feel at the same time, as chaotic as it is, I think the beautiful through line is you still get to see the evolution of these kids into young adults doing their thing, using their minds, and the chemistry is still there. And I love with each season, we get introduced to new characters and seemingly somehow they just fit in and the chemistry is there. Even though things seem darker and more grim, things are on a bigger, grandiose scale, which is fair. You know, this is the final season supposedly, and I really hope it is. I hope they go out with an absolute bang, and the Duffer Brothers are like, no, that's it. No more. I don't want any spin-offs. I don't want any origin stories. I just want them to call it a day. Because so far with these 4 episodes, I'm keen. I'm jonesing, man. I do think it does get a bit bombastic, especially the instances with Max and Holly. There is a bit of an exposition dump between them, and it was actually welcomed because they answered a lot of questions that I had, because some things do get a bit chaotic and your brain is trying to catch up with what's going on up on screen, and then it cuts to our, next group of ragtag characters. So I appreciated that for once, where there was an exposition dump. In terms of the CGI and the visual effects, man, look, again, they're working with a TV budget, a streaming budget, but I can imagine the dollary dues were definitely upped for this one. Things are looking great. There's a few bits of de-aging which actually look pretty good. Like, pretty cool. A few flashback scenes that I wanted to see more of. Like, there was something that happened for like 10 seconds. I'm like, oh my God, can I see more of that, please? So yeah, guys, overall, I think this is a damn decent start to, quote unquote, the final season of Stranger Things. Again, I really hope it is. There is so much going on, but at the same time, I think it's handled pretty well. It could have been worse. I think that also comes down to the editing. The fact they got Frank Darabont to direct an episode is amazing. I think he's directing a couple more as well. We'll have to see when it comes to volume 2. But yeah, so far a damn good start. And when it jumps to all these different characters, I think they all get ample screen time in these episodes. And the run times do vary. Like, episode 4 is like 1:28, and then episode 2 is like 58 minutes. But I feel within each episode, all of our characters get ample screen time and their time to shine. But I think my favorite has got to be episode 3, because I'm a Frank Darabont fan, but also because of the Elm Street references. And I like that they kind of keep Vecna away for a little bit. I will say, though, I prefer the look of Vecna from season 4. I don't know what it is. He does seem more beefed up and more final form Vecna. Seems like there's a lot more VFX going on over the body, whereas I feel like Vecna in season 4, there was less VFX and you saw more of those beautiful prosthetics. And don't get me wrong, the prosthetics in this season are fucking brilliant. And again, he's more bony, he's more sharp. It looks like he's grown. It looks like he's had a growth spurt. But yeah, the very end of episode 4, damn good cliffhanger and a lot of questions, but also just gave you that fuck yeah moment. So yeah, guys, so far a damn good start to this season, and I'm going to be giving Stranger Things 5 Volume 1 4 Great Escapes out of 5. Going back to the Great Escape reference, it is accompanied with a dick joke from Maya Hawke, who is brilliant in this series. Like, she's brilliant in everything, and she looks so much like her mother, it's scary. But the dick joke that she drops is brilliant, and I laughed out loud. And there was a few more dick innuendos after that between, like, Lucas as well, and I'm like, that was very funny. Well done, kids. So guys, with that being said, once you do check out the first 4 episodes, well, Volume 1 of Stranger Things 5, drop a comment below, let me know your thoughts. What are your theories? Also, keep in mind, if you are going to the comments section, there may be spoilers. So, it's the Wild West, man. Enter at your own risk. But yeah, I'm really keen. I'm jonesing for the 26th of December. I'm going to be overseas. I'm going to be in Mauritius. So I'll try and play catch up when I can. But so far, really, really damn good start. And I think also the production design as well, man. Whether it be the sets, the costumes, the way they've dressed everything, just the attention to detail, because this takes place in 1987. And that's, again, another through line with this series, where from season 1 has just how they've captured the 80s. I love that nothing is fluoro green or pink. Everything is like poo brown. And that's how it was in the 80s. And they've nailed it once again. So there's that. Love you guts. And I'll catch you in the next one.